Hello everyone, here we are in Portimao in Portugal, ready for the second race of the new DTM season 2022. We've got perfect weather for the debut race weekend. The sky is blue, we've got plenty of sunshine, and we are so ready for this new season. Yesterday already we saw an amazing, dramatic first race, and the man who actually managed to secure the first victory in this season is Lucas Auer. He's already sitting in the car, already focusing for the qualifying, obviously. And it's going to be tough for him, that's for sure. We've got 29 cars in the field. That's a pure record, and it's going to be very, very exciting, that's for sure. All in all, 6 brands, so you can look forward to a very exciting season. And now we're looking forward to the second qualifying of the season. Here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Chris Hartley here to talk you through 20 minutes of absolutely scintillating qualifying. If anything to go by from yesterday's session, where we had the top 4 covered by 60 thousandths of a second. An incredibly tight qualifying session, and there's no reason to think that it's not going to be exactly the same in this one. 24 cars separated by 9/10 of a second in that qualifying session yesterday. We saw Mirko Bortolotti, who was unfortunate not to win the race yesterday. Had a problem with the car on the restart, which dropped him from first down to, well, at one point he was down to about 6th place on the restart. But he got himself back up to 4th and then had a terrific fight with Maro Engel to get him through on the last lap of the race into 3rd place, picking up his 2nd podium in DTM. So Ricardo Feller there, who was looking pretty relaxed, getting ahead of the session. Nico Muller already in the Team Rosberg number 51 Audi, and already into his car. Devgor, both drivers very unlucky yesterday, picking up contact and damage very early in the race. We also had Marco Wittmann dropping out of the race with a problem yesterday as well, and that was pretty early on. So the winner was, as Verena said, of round 1, Lucas Auer. He took the victory by just about 8/10 of a second from Lucas Stoltz, who picked up his maiden DTM podium, having only had 1 weekend in the DTM previously. That was a guest starting weekend in the Nürburgring last season, and Mirko Bortolotti, as I said, rounding out the podium. Some good drives through the order as well. Kelvin van der Linde, terrific drive through from 17th on the grid to finish in 4th place. Spoke to him after the race and he said, well, that first corner was just one of those days where everything opens up for you. You know, the gaps just opened up. I went through again lots of places at the start, and everybody else was cramming for the inside lines through turns 1 and 2, and I just went for the outside lines. So I was really pleased with the way it had gone. He's hoping for better in qualifying as we look at Thomas Preining there, with another driver to come gain places, went from 20th to 13th. There is Kelvin van der Linde. You said he just
check brake balance, Kelvin.
Just made a small lock-up on his first qualifying lap. Flat spotted the tyre.
Copy 4022.
And had big vibration, and then couldn't quite get his rhythm for his 2nd lap. So they'll be hoping for better, but obviously the pace of the car is there. The Audis all struggled in that qualifying session yesterday. Ricardo Feller, who we saw out of the car looking relaxed a few minutes ago, had 2 lap times disallowed for track limits. And on the track limits issue, some news coming in after the race, that we've got 3 drivers that are going to pick up 3-place grid drops for the next race. And it's all because of track limits problems in race 1. So for exceeding the track limits, disrespecting the track limits on a regular basis, Arjun Maini, Michael Grenier and Sheldon van der Linde are all going to have a 3-place grid drop for the next race. Mirko Bortolotti. Now, is he going to get in the car? Because yesterday he didn't do a lap in the first half of qualifying, only went out in the second half of qualifying, and the plan seemed to work because he was the one that got pole position. That time to look out for, with very similar conditions weather-wise to what we had yesterday morning. 1 minute 39.678 was the pole sitting time yesterday. And we had the top 8 all into the 1 minute 39s. Nicky team getting ready to go. He was running in the top 4, top 5 for the first half of the race, but was another one to suffer in what was a key incident, really, with the car of Rolf Inischen, teammate, ironically, to Mirko Bortolotti, bringing him back the safety car when the car stopped on the inside of turn 1. And then Mirko's several second advantage was wiped out, and on the restart the car bogged down, and as everybody tried to react to him not going as quickly off the mark as they thought, there was a bit of carnage behind, and René Rast went into the back of the Ferrari of one of the 13 rookies that we got in the championship this season, Felipe Fraga, who looked very good in that Ferrari, very quick. I was unlucky with his pit stop as well, because he pitted just a lap before the safety car had come out. There were 5 or 6 drivers that were able to pit during the safety car window. They left it late, gave themselves that window, that opportunity, and were able to gain places. We've seen a glimpse of the 2 SSR Performance Porsches, 92 Laurens Vanthoor and just their 94 Dennis Olsen. Both of them went well in the race yesterday. So Dennis Olsen went from 19th to 5th, got himself into the points, gained 14 places. And Laurens Vanthoor was the driver that gained the most places in the race yesterday, went from 26th on the grid up into the points into 8th place. Also good effort from Philippe Eng, who went from 24th to 9th and gained 15 places in his BMW. There is Ricardo Fella, not looking like he's going to go out just yet, but starting to get ready. Bortolotti has definitely not been out yet, so maybe seeing what happened yesterday with Mirko Bortolotti and thinking, well, you know, let everybody else clean the track up for us and we'll go out. Ricardo, just 21 years of age, the ADAC GT Masters champion last year with Audi, alongside Christopher Mies. Double winner in that. So a few seasons in the ADAC GT Masters Championship, has raced in the IMSA Sports Car Series and in the Blockpond GT Series as well. Raced in Formula 4. It's his first season in car racing back in 2016. So there, going out is another of the 13 rookies in the series, Dennis Olsen, the former Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion of 2017, runner-up in the Porsche Super Cup that year as well to Michael Ammermuller, who was the driver that debuted the Porsche and SSR Performance at the Nürburgring last season. Right, we are riding on the board then a lap of this 4.6 kilometre long circuit, hugely undulating track, which rises and falls almost all of the time. You hit the undulation coming out of some of the turns, it rises up. You're right on board with Marco Wittmann, who's still bringing up the tyres to speed. And there are several downhill sections as well where the back of the car goes light, all the weight is transferred over the front wheels. And you turn in like the left-hander there at turn 5, which is one of the key overtaking spots. Heading uphill into turn 6, you go over a crest, which is just after the 100-metre board, and then it's a very slight downhill into the right at turn 7. And then a steep uphill into 8. And then back downhill from 8 down to the sweeping left-hander, which is about to go into now at turn 9, and then it climbs uphill again. As you can see there, the elevation change is pretty drastic there, up into turns 10 and 11. That takes you to the end of sector 2, and then you drop downhill once again from 11 through the left-hander at 12, and then it's a steep drop between 12 and the next left-hander at 13, which is almost a tight hairpin. Steep uphill from 12 to 13, downhill again then. Once you get out of 13, just after you leave the apex, you start going downhill through 14, come back on yourself, and then they almost flat out. Very quick sweeping right-hander at turn 15 to take you to the ends of the lap, which René Rast is about to do. Is about to go into perhaps the first flying lap of the session. So, in terms of fastest times, we're looking at 1:39s to be really competitive if yesterday's anything to go by. 1:39.678, the time that Mirko Bortolotti set. And in terms of sector times, 31.2 is the best sector time through sector 1, sector 2 31.4, and 36.4 through the final sector. So coming out at turn 5, riding on board with the 3-time champion René Rast, one of the big name retirements yesterday. First semi-competitive lap has been posted by Kelvin van der Linde, 1:41.277, but they're going to be going much, much quicker than that. René Rast has just done a 31.6 through the first set, so that's 4/10 slower than yesterday's absolute best. But it was in the second half of the session where the really quick lap times came yesterday, after they'd all posted a couple of laps, come in, checked things over and gone back out. That's when Mirko Bortolotti set his absolutely flying lap times. So van der Linde 1 and 2 at the moment. They came into a bit of a race yesterday, into a bit of a battle. I asked Kelvin about that. He said, yeah, I never know what to do in that situation, because, you know, I want to beat him, but I don't want to throw him off the road either. He said, but luckily, whenever we seem to come together, we're always in a sort of different zone of the race. Either one of us is bringing up the tyres to temperature coming out of the pits and the other one's at full speed, or the other way around. There aren't that many occasions where we've been in a proper battle together. But that day might just come soon. Both looking very competitive yesterday. Sheldon van der Linde getting into the points yesterday as well. A good start with his new team, Schubert's Motorsport. Dropped back a bit at the start, but came good in the end and finished where he started in 7th place. Right, Marco Wittmann, quickest lap so far, 1 minute 40.327. But we're not quite yet into the 1 minute 39s, but Sheldon van der Linde does a 31.5 first sector. 32.4 second sector, so 0.3 down on the absolute best first sector from yesterday. The second sector was a match for it, and that puts him at the moment into 2nd place with a 1 minute 40.85. So 140.3 for Marco Wittmann and 140.854 for Sheldon van der Linde, who was up there in the top 3 in qualifying halfway yesterday and then dropped back. A 31.85 through sector 2 for this man, Nico Muller, and that is a good second sector, comparable with yesterday. I think he's still going to struggle to get into the 1 minute 39s, but this should be a 1 minute 40, and it could well get him into the top 3 if he holds it together through the last sector. And I think there's still more time to come, although we don't know if that track is going to be exactly as quick as yesterday. Seems similar though, based on the times from the first half of yesterday's session. It is a low 1 minute 40.13 then for Nico Muller. Absolute best of the day so far in the final sector as well. So he goes top of the times for now. Wittmann down to 2nd, Sheldon van der Linde 3rd, Kelvin van der Linde 4th, Maximilian Buch in 5th place, Dennis Olsen 6th, Lawrence Van Toor and Arjun Maini, Felipe Fraga and Marius Zug all in the top 10. And Lucas Stoltz has just put himself into 8th place. There he is, just gone across the start-finish line, the driver that finished 2nd yesterday. Quiet, unassuming German driver, a tall figure when he gets into that Mercedes. But he drove a beautiful race yesterday. Team gained him some places with what was the quickest pit stop in terms of the whole pit stop, the in and outs of the lap of the pit lane included, not just the stop time. He had the best stop time and gained some positions and time on his out lap as well. Nico Muller, absolute best first sector. His last lap put him to the top of the times with a 1 minute 40.137, but he's going quicker now. 31.793 through the second sector. So all in all, he's about 0.4 down on the best lap time from yesterday. I think it's going to be either a very high 1 minute 39 or a very low 1 minute 40 if he gets it through the final sector and completes the lap. So Nico Muller about to come flying down the hill out of turn 15, carries the speed out wide. Is this going to be even better than his existing provisional pole position lap? Not quite, 1 minute 40.3. I think he's probably lost a little bit of time getting past his teammate in the background there. Dev Gore, though, has done a personal best and put himself into the top 3. No results to show for their efforts all week yesterday for the team. It was about as bad as it could be, but it was nothing to do with performance. The car was quick. The drivers both did well in free practice on Friday and in the 2 days of testing they had here on Tuesday and Wednesday, and in pre-season. They both look strong. Big step forward for Dev Gore, really, in this second season. And he got used to the circuits and the cars. So Marco Wittmann comes into the pits, halfway stage in the session, this 20-minute session, and he is in 2nd place, but there is nearly 0.3 of a second between the top 2, Nico Muller and Marco Wittmann. It is Audi BMW, Audi with Dev Gore in 3rd place, and then BMW Sheldon van der Linde 4th, Audi Kelvin van der Linde in 5th, and the first Mercedes in the order so far is Maximilian Buch in his 2nd season of DTM, having finished on the podium in the final round at Norris Ring. He's back with the Berlin-based squad, Peter Muka's team, and I think there's a lot to change in this session, bearing in mind that over 20 cars yesterday were split by 0.9 of a second, and we've got 1 second between the top 5. I think it's all going to kick off in the second half of the session. Rolf Innerschen has not set a lap time yet. Ricardo Feller has not set a lap time. Lucas Auer, yesterday's winner, hasn't been out. And Esme Hawkey, and of course Mirko Bortolotti, neither of those two have been out. Success ballast, not in qualifying, but in the race will be a factor later on as well. Same as last year, the top 3 will carry success ballast, although the weights have changed for this year in terms of second and third. So Lucas Auer, yesterday's winner, will carry 25 kilograms of success ballast into the race, which I'm pretty sure is going to make a big difference around here, given all the climbs, all the undulations on the circuit. For finishing second yesterday, Lucas Stoltz will have 15 kilograms. That's less than the 18 it used to be. And for finishing third, Mirko Bortolotti will have 5 kilograms of success ballast in the race, which again is reduced from last year. And it was 15, quite a bit lighter. Quite a big change to that third place success ballast. So all good for Team Rosberg so far. Kimmo Limitainen's team, much improved the handling of that car. The upgraded Evo kit on the Audis. Nico telling me that generally it handles better all around, and the window for finding a good setup is much wider. It's much less sensitive to setup changes. You can do more with it, try more things out than the car from last year. So far, so good. The highs and lows of motorsport from 0 points yesterday. They're first and third in qualifying at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they will sense the job is nowhere near done. There's still some quick drivers to go out. And I think there's still some time to be found out there. But Nico Müller couldn't have done much more. He sets all 3 fastest sector times so far. 31.3, 31.7 and 36.7 in the final sectors. Right, there is Sebastian Loeb heading out on track, having made his DTM debut yesterday, the 9-time world rally champion. He qualified 21st yesterday, but he was only 7/10 of a second away from the pole time. It's just how tight it was. So he did a pretty solid job yesterday in the Red Bull AlphaTauri car. Onboard camera with him now then as he heads out and looks to build up speed. He's running in 18th place at the moment. I think it's all going to change in this one. Tommy Priding.
The Lambo behind you is very slow driver, so don't let him overtake you.
The Lamborghini behind you is a slow driver. Don't let it past, okay, right. That's the message on the radio to this man, Sebastian Loeb. Yesterday in the race, he came through to finish in 16th place in the AlphaTauri AF Corsa Ferrari. In a smaller field just a few years ago, Sebastian Ogier, 8-time World Rally Champion, had a DTM guest drive, and his best result that day was a 12th place, finishing at a 12th and a 16th. So he's matched the 16th, but it was a much reduced field that year in terms of numbers compared to what we've got today with 29 cars, a record. 15 different nationalities represented on the grid as well this season, which is another record.
We have 4 cars getting out the pits now. 4 cars on pit exit now.
And a reminder that the top 3 in qualifying score championship points as well. 3 for pole, 2 for second, and 1 for third place. Lucas Auer got a point for qualifying third yesterday, plus the 25 points for the win to be the early championship leader, with 26 from a possible 28 points scored so far. But he hasn't yet put a lap in. Neither has Mirko Bortolotti on pole position yesterday. Riccardo Feller could be a dark horse because he, in qualifying yesterday, didn't really show his true pace with those laps that were taken away from him for track limits. Ended up in 13th place. So I think there's more to come from Riccardo. There's Rolf Inischen. Good to see the car has been repaired. There in the middle of the shot is Peter Muka, the veteran team principal, the owner of the Berlin-based Muka Motorsports squad, who've got a rich history, not just in DTM, but in single-seater racing as well, where he's brought through many young talents over the years. So Sebastian Loeb taking the Ferrari for a spin around Portimao and looking to improve upon yesterday's time. 3.9 litre V8 turbo power kicking in as he rises up through the hill. Number 37 machine, nice clear track ahead of him, just to make about to make his way out down into the left-hander at turn 12, and then just as you get to the apex for 13, you start the uphill climb once more. get to 13, just climbs a little bit out of the corner, and then you can see the crest, and it's back downhill then as you head towards the final 2 turns at 14 and 15. And there in the background, Philip Eng, who will be hoping for a better qualifying now. Dennis Olsen, absolute best so far, but only by a fraction in the middle sector, 31.6, 31.7. He's about a tenth up. If he holds the last sector together and gets to 36.7 or less, I think he's going to be on to provisional pole position with this and might just creep into the 1 minute 39s. 1:40.034 to beat. Dennis Olsen is about to come over the line. He's somewhere approaching turn 15 at the moment in the Porsche. There he is in the number 94 machine, the Norwegian then. Car just ahead, but that won't get in his way. Over the crest he comes. What's it going to be? Over the line he goes. 1:40.37. Good effort, but just lost out a little bit in that final sector. 36.9. Yeah, lost 2 tenths in that, almost 3 tenths in that final sector, which is what he was behind in the end. So Muller and Wittmann remain ahead of him, but Olsen goes into third. Devgors drops to fourth. Sheldon and Kelvin van der Linde drop to fifth and sixth. Max Buch is still in the pits at the moment, running in seventh place. Felipe Fraga then 31.4 through the first sector, 31.6 through the second, absolute best. He's a tenth up. He's got a clean track in front of him. This might be a 1 minute 39. Let's wait and see. Not quite. 1 minute 40.11 seconds. But by 23 thousandths of a second, it is the quickest time so far. Marius Zerg has just gone third quickest for Tempto Racing. The Audi going into the low 140s as well. 1 minute 40.285 for Marius. You see a great deal of Marius yesterday. The race didn't work out for him. Qualifying didn't really work out for him either, but he has been good pre-season, the 19-year-old Bavarian. Former ADAC German GT4 Championship runner-up. There is Riccardo Feller then. Just really half a session for him. Marco Bortolotti has headed out on track as well now. That's a really good start to the lap. 31.4 and the 31.5. That is now putting him about 2.5 tenths of a second up on the best lap so far. We've got a car ahead of him, hasn't he? One of the Porsches, one of the SSR Performance Porsches. It's Dennis Olsen, and that might just curtail the lap, I think. Might just put him off his stride here, and that's a shame for Riccardo, if that's the case, because up until that point it looked like being the quickest lap of the session so far. Still going to be a pretty good one. It's just whether he got delayed through turn 14 there. Let's have a look. Yeah, it did. 1:40.15. I think there was more time to be found there. However, it's his best so far. It puts him into the top 3. But Nico Muller, 31.2 through the first sector. That's 2 tenths up on anything so far. So he's on a flying lap at the moment in the number 51 Team Rosberg Audi. As yesterday's runner-up in the race, Lucas Stoltz on for a personal best here, and this is going to be a decent effort. Low 140, no, not quite 140.6, but it does put him 0.6 rather, does put him into the top 3. Right, Nico Muller's done a personal best through the second sector, matched what he did before, but he was 2 tenths up, 3 tenths up in the first sector on his own previous best. Felipe Fraga at the moment is just ahead of him for provisional pole position. We've got René Rast on the charge as well, but what about Nico Muller? I think this could be the provisional pole lap. Just got to handle that last corner. He'll be coming through towards turn 15 now, and more or less the next one over the line. As René Rast starts a quick lap. Here he comes then, and yeah, 1:39.79. The first one to break the 1 minute 40s. Nico Muller and Team Rosberg on provisional pole position by 2 tenths of a second. He might want one more though, just to make sure. 1 minute 15 seconds left to go in the session. Marco Bortolotti's first flying lap put him into 9th place, by the way. A really good first sector for Marco Wittmann, 31.25, almost matching what Nico Muller did. He's a tenth down on Nico in the second sector. And a further tenth behind him, Kelvin van der Linde. So Marco Wittmann, I think he's about to put himself here into the top 3, but maybe not quite provisional pole position unless he's had a stunning final couple of corners of this lap. He'll get one more go as well with still 43 seconds left on the clock. The BMW over the line, 1:40.010. So Wittmann going through and setting his best lap of the session so far and getting another lap to go at this. Bortolotti goes second, just outside the 1 minute 39s. Over the line and through to turn 1 he goes. He'll get one more lap as well. He's already had 2 flying laps. Will the tyres hold up for a third? He's done a 1:40.001. Car 6 track limits, current lap time deleted, which was Alessio delayed. I'm just looking at Marco Wittmann's time, whether that got taken away as well. No, 1:40.107, 7th place. checkered flag comes out. Bortolotti has had an okay but not brilliant start to the lap. 31.4, he's gone second with that 1:40.001. Can he find another 0.2 of a second? It's a big ask, and he's a couple of tenths down through the first sector. There are no purple sector times at the moment. Got a few going well out there. Laurens Vanthoor, Dev Gore and René Rast have all done personal best first sectors, but René backed it off actually in the middle sector, so he's going to be 13th at best in the session. Felipe Fraga has gone into the pits. He's third at the moment, so he's not going to improve upon that. And Nico Müller has backed off. He can't find any more time, but he might not need to on his provisional pole lap. Marco Wittmann's second sector has let him down a little bit there. It's about half a second down on the absolute best lap time. He might still get a personal best here and get himself into the top 6 if he can just shave half a tenth of a second off. Through he comes. Not a bad effort, but no, not quite as good as his best. 0.3 down, 1:40.48. Kelvin van der Linde, he's on a decent effort. He's almost going to be the last one home. Does that improve his time? He goes through 8th place. It is his best lap of the session, but it doesn't get him into the top 6. Better than yesterday, though. 17th yesterday, and he still got into 4th place. So he'll fancy his chances from 8th position, which, incidentally, 8th was the lowest he started on the grid all season last season. So better, but it's Nico Müller who has grabbed pole position. And I don't think anybody would have been massively surprised if Nico had got it yesterday after the pre-season build-up that he'd had. So after the real heartache of yesterday, it is Nico Müller with the biggest smile in the whole paddock, because things have turned around for him. He would have believed that that was possible because he knew the car was quick. He knows how quick he is, the former two-time championship runner-up. And that is his 6th career pole position. Nico Müller, the tall Swiss driver, climbs out of the car. And today, the only driver to get into the 1:39s. Remember, they only have 3 sets of tyres, new tyres, to last 2 qualifyings and the race. So, and of course, he didn't use so much of his tyres yesterday because he didn't do much of the race. Mirko Bortolotti not quite getting a double pole position, but he gets another couple of points for qualifying second. Nico Müller gets his first points of the season with 3 for pole position. Bortolotti in second place gets the 2 points, and Felipe Fraga into the top 3 with a point for him as well. So there is confirmation. Not quite as close as it was yesterday, that's for sure. 0.2 of a second, a big advantage for Nico Müller. Bortolotti second, Fraga third. Sheldon van der Linde better off than yesterday. He qualifies 4th, but he's got a 3-place grid penalty for track limits in the race yesterday, so we'll start where he started yesterday in 7th place. Lucas Auer 5th. Lucas Stoltz in 6th, Marco Wittmann in 7th place, Kelvin van der Linde in 8th, Ricardo Feller qualifying in 9th place, and Maximilian Buch, the champion of last year, rounding out the top 10. Laurens Vanthoor much better off today than yesterday as well. He's 26th on the grid for race 1, he's 11th on the grid for this one. Dev Gore with a strong 12th place, qualifying for the teammate to the pole sitter, and then in 13th place René Rast, Marius Sugg in 14th. Michael Grenier, who was up in the top 4 yesterday in qualifying, ran second, well, started second, ran second for a while, ran in the top 3 for most of the race, only 15th today, and he's also got a 3-place grid penalty for track limits. So Michael Grenier is going to start the race 18th. Dennis Olsen qualified 16th, Esteban Buch qualified 17th. Maro Engel, who almost got a podium yesterday, 18th. Philip Eng, still better than yesterday, but 19th, not a good qualifying for the Austrian. Nicky Tim, way down there today, back in 20th place. Tommy Breining, 21st. Arjamani, 22nd, has got a 3-place grid penalty as well. Max Buch, 23rd. David Schumacher, 24th. Clement Schmidt, 25th. Rolf Venischen, Sebastian Loeb, Esme Hawkey, and Alessio De Leda round out the runners. As we see super slow-mos of the top 3, ending with this man, Nico Müller. That's more like it. Forget about yesterday. Tomorrow is a new day. And after lots of difficulties in last season, maybe things are about to take a turn for the better for Nico Müller. So big opportunity for him on pole position. He's going to have no success ballast on the car. He's used less tyres than a lot of the drivers because of yesterday's problems with the car as well. So I would say he's in a very, very strong position. Excellent job by Nico Müller, and to get pole position by 0.2 of a second. Mirko Bortolotti, I think, will be pretty happy with second. He's got some success ballast to carry, but not much, with 5 kilograms, having finished 3rd yesterday. And Felipe Fraga will be one to watch as well. No ballast on the Ferrari, starting in 3rd place. And he was a very quick driver yesterday, but also a very unlucky driver. So it could be that Felipe will be a challenger for minimum a podium. The top three then pose for some photos. Nico in the middle, to the left of your picture, Mirko Bortolotti, and to the right, Felipe Fraga, the rookie in the championship. But as we've said all weekend long, somebody that brings with him lots and lots of GT and touring car experience. So those drivers having posed for the photos will sort of sigh of relief there, wasn't it, from Nico Muller? Puffs out some air. We'll be going for some television interviews. Hopefully we'll be hearing from them shortly. And then it's a quick turnaround because the race starting in just a few hours' time at 12:30. Right, I think we can go down to the pit lane now, catch up with some drivers and Verena.
And I've got Mirko Bortolotti here. So congratulations, P2 in qualifying. Yesterday you had pole position, today P2. Now, question, yesterday in the restart, you had a problem because the Lamborghini got a little hot, so you didn't manage to restart too well. Did you guys fix the problem for today in case there would be another safety car phase?
This is a question for the team, because I'm just driving the car and I will go on power when it's green again, and then hopefully it works today. So now I'm quite confident that you know, I have full trust in the team and all our technicians, so should be fine for today.
It should be a good feeling. After all, it's only the second race coming up and already you're performing really well, so you've got to be very confident.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as we've seen yesterday, I felt really good with the car and obviously on the track as well, so we did a good job yesterday. Unfortunately, we didn't quite take the result we probably deserved. But still, we ended up on the podium, scored good points, and we are in a really good position as well for the second race now.
Yeah, and today you can do the best, so who knows, maybe today you'll get your victory.
Fingers crossed, never say never. As I said yesterday, you never know in DTM. Everything can happen, as we've seen, and the race is over when it's over.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Mirko. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, Mirko says, I don't know, I'm just a driver. I think they fixed it. I'm sure they will have. And as he said, Grasser Racing Team know what they're doing. Multiple teams, champions, drivers' titles they've taken in Blancpain GT Racing. Might be new to DTM, but they're a very experienced team. Getting a podium with Mirko and their DTM debut yesterday, of course. And, well, he may not have got the win that he possibly deserved yesterday. However, it was great fun watching him have that battle for about 15 minutes, wasn't it, to get himself onto the podium step with Maro Engel. In the end, he got past him at the start of the final lap of the race. He possibly, well, he didn't need to do it in the end because then there was a penalty anyway for pit stop infringement, which dropped Maro back to 10th place. There's how they'll line up then. And that looks a tasty proposition, doesn't it, for the 55-minute plus one lap this afternoon. Muller and Bortolotti sharing the front row. Fraga and Sheldon van der Linde then qualifying next up, although he's got that penalty of 3 places, which is going to knock him back to 7th. However, the pace of the BMW looked good. Still a big, heavy car, he says, but this one is much better than the older generation BMW M4 that I was driving last year, said Sheldon to me yesterday, and hopefully shaking off all that bad luck. Nicky Team is going to be interesting to watch. He was really quick in the race yesterday, ran 4th up until the pit stop windows opened, but he's back in 20th position for this one, so lots of work for him to do. So that's just about wraps it up from me, Chris Hartley, in the commentary box. I'll be back with you in a couple of hours for the second race of the season. But let's head back down in the pit lane to Verena.
And now we're here with the pole setter, Nico Müller. Nico, yesterday you were very unlucky in the race, but today it's looking really good. You're starting in pole position, so what's your feeling for the race?
Yeah, obviously couldn't have gone any better in qualifying today. Very happy for the team, for Audi, for myself. We've worked really hard over winter to find the performance that we were obviously lacking last year, so it feels good to kind of be able to prove to ourselves that the direction we took during the development testing in our in the winter break went into the right direction. You know, you never really know. You have a good feeling, but you only find out when, you know, all the others are also really pushing. So yeah, very happy with that. The race will be long though. The big part of the job is still lying ahead of us, so looking forward to that, and hopefully we can execute and score some very good points today.
I'm sure you will. I mean, starting pole position is always the best position, obviously. Now, there are 29 cars in the field. We saw yesterday what a jungle it was out there, and you were one of the cars who got knocked out. So what is it like? I mean, the season is so super challenging. The track is very challenging. What is it like, DTM 2022?
I think super unpredictable is probably the word, and you just have to find consistency. I think that's the key during this year if you want to fight for the title. Because, you know, you will have days where your car is the one to beat, and you'll have days where that's not the case, and that's when you have to limit the damage. So yesterday we already, you know, took a hit. We already took some damage, so we got to make up for it today. And yeah, you cannot, you know, leave any stone unturned, because everybody here is so much on their toes. They're the best in what they do. So yeah, it's going to be a challenging year, a really tough one, but I look forward to it.
Absolutely. So we thank you so much. Best of luck for the race. And that's it for the second qualifying of the DTM season 22. And we're very much looking forward to the race in just a bit. So make sure to watch. We're looking forward to it and see you then. Here are the highlights. Enjoy.